Yep, both are going. So we got both. And here comes the intro right now in 3, 2. Oh, by the way, this is how you can tell there were no American commercials for anything Alex Kidd related. So just warning you now, that's why you're about to hear what you're going to hear.
But okay? I've heard a lot of them, and the Japanese versions were actually the most entertaining.
They're a lot of fun.
All the stuff I heard.
Yeah, they often are. Almost all video game ads are better when they're Japanese.
Yeah.
Here's this one in 3, 2, 1.
アレクの新しい冒険物語。数ある難関をクリアして12の星座に光を灯せ。アレックス・キッド、ザ・ロストスターズ。セガ。
Alex Kiddo.
Kiddo.
Yeah, Kiddo.
Yeah. Alex Kiddo.
that extra G is fun, or D is fine. Hey everybody, welcome to Play Retro. This is Play Retro. We talk about old video games here, and I'm one of your hosts, Scott Johnson, and I'm all about low-level, unheard-of platforming games that no one remembers. He's a kid named Kid, and I'm not kidding. Look out, Mario and Sonic. This kid is here to play.
He's here to play, and I'm your other host, Brian Dunaway, and I am one-punching my way to an 8-bit mini-bike powered by pre-blast processing platforming in what could be best described as... Good try, guys. Rock, paper, scissors. Oh, shoot, I'm dead. Whatever. Just stick the kid in Shinobi World and hire the hedgehog already. Hire the hedgehog. Hire him already.
Yeah, don't hide the hedgehog. Hire that guy. Get him going.
Yeah, hire him.
We're here to talk about Alex Kidd, a game that some of you, maybe Sega purists who had Master Systems back in the day, you probably know who we're talking about. I know he's got a little bit of an underground following. People
love that guy. Look at that. Ooh.
Oh, look at it. What's plugged in there right now? What is that?
Ooh, oh, this is Alex Kidd.
Oh, okay. It looked like you had a Final Fantasy cartridge jammed in there.
Oh yeah, it's back there. It's back behind there. That's later. Don't look at that.
I won't look at that. I'm not looking at that.
Just look at the Sega Master System. The first console Brian ever had wasn't this particular one, but it would look just like this. Yeah. And I stroked it. And then I sent a video to see if I could trigger Scott, but he didn't get triggered, because I used to love to do this because these things are tanks and I shouldn't do this, but.
Oh, I do it all. That's how I did it all. Didn't bother me one bit.
Slam the cards.
Yeah.
Are you crazy? No, it's so fragile.
It's fragile, but not really. I mean, I'll tell you what, I had less dust problems than my friends. They had more dust.
I never blew one of those. Did you ever blow one? I never blew one.
I mean, I maybe did once or twice, but for the most part, I think it's because I was jamming it in so hard, dust never had a chance.
Dust is like, eek.
Dust is like, I'm out of here. Anyway, we're going to talk all about Alex Kidd, its beginnings, why it matters, and why, I don't know, maybe there's a comeback on the way. Maybe a little bit. I don't know. They kind of tried with a remake, and we'll get to all that. Yeah. But before we do, I wanted to mention a game that I found that I think people are going to really like, even if you only play retro games and you're like, I don't want to know about a new game. Well, I'm going to tell you anyway. I've got a new game that reminds me of the best of retro platformers, and it's a game called Grapple Dog. Oh. Grapple Dog. And as you might imagine, you play a cute little dog that has a grappling hook. And the grappling hook helps you traverse a lot of stuff. It's very useful in boss fights and is crucial to navigating the world of Grapple Dog. The game is structured a little bit like a Mario overworld, where you start out in a boat and you kind of float to these different islands, and those islands are levels. And you have all the standard sort of like, well, you just need to beat the level to say that you've beat it, but also if you collect all these gems, then you get the extra... you get the extra points or the extra bragging rights.
I'm feeling just a little bit of Super Meat Boy. Just saying, a little bit of Super Meat Boy. Am I getting that?
Graphically, sure. I think that
right. I saw a lot of wall walking.
Well, there's some of that, but it's not like a precision platformer in that way. It's not one of those where you're gonna bang your head against the wall and keep dying all the time.
He's got a grapple.
Yeah, he's got a little grapple. You can get out of some scary situations with that grapple. I just love the art style. It's retro and new all at the same time. Plays flawlessly on my Steam Deck, which is what I needed during this stupid cold I've got. Mm-hmm. So crashing out on the couch with this has been just delightful, and I highly recommend it. It actually came out last year, and I never heard of it until the sale. It's on sale. I should mention that. It's only $5 right now. Total steal if you like platformers.
I think what we should do after the last couple of weeks I've seen a lot of modern things that are enticing me because they have a retro feel to them, but they're very modern. I think maybe we should do a little, a little segment each week, maybe play retro now or play retro like or something, because it's not necessarily retro, but it embodies all of the love. Is there's like we played Alex Kidd in Miracle World, which was a remake. We also got Mario RPG, the remake, or
Yeah.
maybe we call it play retro remake or something
Ooh, I
like
like
that.
your thinking
Yeah.
there. That could be fun.
Yeah.
Sure.
So yeah,
Well,
I like it.
normally this thing's $15. It's only $5.09. It's like 66% off. Why? It's too stupid
Now
not to
is
grab it. So just get it.
now is the most frustrating time. Well, besides summer, the most frustrating time of the year for me, because everything is on super sale, and I want everything, all of it,
I know.
all of it.
There's tons of it. I kind of have this
It's rough.
this rule: if something's $5 and good, I'm in.
Yeah.
I'm just in
Yeah.
automatically. If the sale is like, hey, do you finally want to play Hogwarts Legacy? We've shaved a whole 3% off the price, or some dumb thing like that. No thanks. I'll wait for a bigger
Yeah.
sale. But for the small stuff, you can get some pretty good deals right now.
Yeah, not bad, not bad.
So while I've been just trying to not be sick on the couch with a game like Grapple Dog, Brian, what have you been up to in the retro space this week?
I've spent a good time at the thrift store because I had a good luck find earlier this week, and I keep going back just for another fix. I found something good. Oh, I gotta just a little bit more. So for the first time in a long time, I was at the thrift store that I like to visit, and usually the oldest game I ever see is stuff from like the PlayStation 2 era, and it's like that's fine. PlayStation 2, Xbox 360, got plenty of that stuff. But as I was going to check out, I looked over and they have like a cabinet where they keep the games. And I've got all the good stuff. Rarely does anything new come in that I don't already have.
So this is a thrift store, not a game store, not a thrift game store, but a thrift store that has games in it.
It's a thrift store that has a few games in it, and they're not like places like Goodwill that scrapes all that stuff up as soon as it comes in and ships it off to some eBay type store or nothing. No, this is a local thrift store where people donate things, and the people in there who are sorting through this stuff kind of go, oh, okay, cool, and they just throw it in on the shelf, and you get a chance to actually look at things that are being donated from people. So this here is a Genesis. I saw this thing halfway across the store, and it was like, oh my god, it's a genuine Risk Sega Genesis 16-bit game. I couldn't believe it. I ran to the cabinet, put my face on the thing, and I said, open this cabinet so I could get this. And paid a whole $5, complete in box, Risk, and it's not a fantastic deal. It's a good look. It's a good deal for a Sega Genesis game.
Sure.
Can you find it on eBay for about that price with a little bit more shipping? Yeah, I probably could spend another $5 and got it from eBay, complete in box and everything else. But the fact that I found it in real life.
Yeah. Have you played it, and did it take you 12 hours plus the next day after school to play it like it used to for us when we were kids?
I've never played Risk, the board game, the video game, or anything.
What?
I've never played any of it, and that's one of the reasons why I was kind of excited about it. As 1 to 6 players, and I can't wait to shove this thing, slam it right into my Sega Genesis later, probably early in the year. This is a general audience. Look at that. It's rated GA for killing the world as Napoleon, apparently.
Yeah, because all you really do is look at a map and move numbers around. But
right.
But Risk was, man, that was like a religion when I was growing up. People love.
Yeah,
Risk.
I know a lot of people are really into this, and I'm interested.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that goes. And
Okay.
I also been picking up a lot of really cool VHS stuff. I got the Menagerie, the Star Trek, the first episode. Actually wasn't the first episode. It was with the Commander
It's
Pike.
the pilot,
I've been
right?
watching Strange.
Yeah.
I've been watching Strange New Worlds.
Mhm.
So I'm all hot on Pike right now.
Sure.
I found some kind of CBS Paramount VHS Time Live collection. I only got one. There was like 8 of those things in there, different tapes. And I was like, I can't walk out of this thrift store with 8, Star Trek, the original series. I can't do that.
No, that seems excessive to me.
Yeah, that would be me admitting that I have a problem.
Yeah.
So I just picked up one, and I walked out the store, 25 cents poorer.
Yeah.
25 whole cents.
Pretty good deal,
baby.
though. Name something else you can buy for $0.25 now. You can't even get a video game for $0.25
you can't.
anymore.
You can't. So I'm pretty excited about this Risk find, and I was just super excited. Also, just a quick mention. I didn't even know this was a thing until I saw one of our great friends and community members, Tondagosa, was streaming some stuff for DOS Timber. That's a thing, apparently.
It is.
I don't know. Does DOS get a whole month? Is that how we're playing? Is it because it's a clever name? Is that how things work?
I've
If you come up with a
never
clever
heard of
name,
that. That's news to me. DOS Timber.
DOS Timber.
Okay.
DOS Timber.
Why isn't it DOS-sember?
I don't know.
Because it's December. You know what I mean?
DOS-sember. Maybe it is DOS-sember. Maybe I spelled it wrong.
Oh, maybe.
I've just seen it posted places, and I'm like, okay, I'm always down.
Yeah,
for some DOS games.
you're down for DOS games. You like your DOS box and your whatnot. You know.
Right.
You're into it.
I'm into it.
Yeah, I didn't know that, but that sounds like fun. I mean, I played so many DOS games back when they were, current that you'd think that's all I'd want to play. But I don't know. DOS was never the draw. DOS just happened to be the operating system for PC if I wanted to run Quake or if I wanted to run Doom. That was just the way of life. I didn't like it. I didn't love DOS. DOS annoyed me. I don't like memory managers and all that bullshit.
Oh my God. I think people forget. So we always have these nostalgia feels. It's like, oh, I'm nostalgic for Alex Kidd, or I'm nostalgic for this. And we go back and see if it holds up. I'll tell you something that I'll never be nostalgic for, and that's trying to get CD-ROM or mouse drivers to work on DOS. Yep. I hated that then, and I hate it now.
It was never good. It was never a good time. No. Never a good experience. It never felt good. Nothing about it made me go, oh, remember the old days and I had to run EM, what was that called? EM 386 or whatever it was.
Right.
Extended memory thing. And you had to do it every time you wanted to play. And mouse look doesn't work on the Quake demo. What are we going to do? And it's like, well, let's spend all this valuable gaming time dicking around with these settings. That sucked. That wasn't great.
That's why I'm so excited. There's also one of the reasons why I want to bring up DOS Timber is because there's a project I saw recently that people are enamored with. It's an online DOS system where you can go online on a wherever, the website. It's a website. There's a word.
The internet, the website.
It's on the internet. You've heard the internet?
I have heard of it.
You can go on a website and you can play DOS games, but it's only the demo versions. And I'm like, well, that's kind of boring, but okay. So I've retreated back over to my Mr. FPGA, and I'm running the AO46 project and running DOS there. Yeah. And let's just say I was looking around at some stuff, and one of the reasons why I'm wearing this grungy X-Wing
look at you
sweatshirt that I got.
That's cool. Look at that.
Yeah. Christmas time. At Christmas time of Star Wars, it's I can't separate the two.
You know what? I also do that. I associate Star Wars with Christmas, and I also associate MMOs with Christmas. Like World
and
of
it's
Warcraft
more than just because
of
the Star Wars Christmas movie. I mean, a lot of the Star Wars movies were released around Christmas time, and so and all the toys and everything. It's just Christmassy.
Yeah, it's Christmassy, man.
Yeah. Plus, I'm pretty sure Chewbacca, once he gets older, is going to make a great Santa.
Oh man, I thought a Christmas tree, but sure, a Santa would work. Yeah. You know what? Maybe I got to draw a Santa today. Maybe it'll be a Chewy Santa.
Ooh, a Chewy Santa.
Yeah, I'm doing 25 of them, for the month. And,
I know. I've been watching. It's been amazing. Some of them I just love. Like there's one that you got where it's like I call it a commode mouth. You got a Santa and he's got a big giant gaping maw.
I knew you'd like that one, by the way. Yeah, I knew it. When I was drawing that, I went, you know which one of these is going to be Brian's favorite. This is it.
I would appreciate this.
Yeah, that is not a big surprise here, Chad. I'll show you which one he's talking about. So, I've been having a really good time with these. There he is.
Yeah,
with the
I'm
tree
easy.
in his mouth.
I'm easy to read.
Yeah, I also like the idea of a guy who just has a tree in his mouth. That's a weird idea.
Yeah, that's a great idea. There's a little bit of horror and a little bit of comedy. And I love that.
I got a few retro things in here. We got him stuck in a Mario pipe. We got him getting face hugged by an alien's face hugger, if you want to go retro there. What else? There was another one in here that's kind of retro-y. Oh, yeah, I made a Link. Link from Legend of Zelda. Whoops, why won't that move properly? There, I don't know why I want that one.
Link Santa.
Yeah, here he is looking he looks more like an elf, but whatever. Anyway, it's been really
Love it.
fun to do. Maybe Chewy's up for a turn. I don't know.
Chewy would make an excellent Santa.
I think
in my
so
opinion.
too. I agree with you. All right, let's move on to what we're talking about today. Another thing I associate with Christmas is new consoles. And way back in the day, late 80s, early 90s, you may have begged your parents for one of these. And it may have come with a little cartridge in there called Alex Kidd. Here's some sound. Oh, before I do that.
Shall we play a game?
Cold meds are kicking in.
I love your OCD that requires you to play it.
I had to, man. I had to. All right. You hear that music? You hear that stuff? That sounds like an old 8-bit machine. Well, you'd be right. The game is Alex Kidd, or in the original full name, Alex Kidd in Miracle World.
Miracle World. It's a miracle, Alex.
Yep. That's the one I played at my buddy's house. Never had a Master System. I was always bummed that I didn't. But I had the NES. He had the Master System. We go back and forth.
I'll tell you, the Sega Master System has aged like fine wine. I keep adding more games to it. I keep picking them up as I go along, and I keep being impressed with how just fantastic it is, and how it is just such an underrated machine.
I agree.
I don't think people love it as much as
they don't, because, well, A, it wasn't the leader in the space. Like, the NES destroyed it in terms of overall user base, which is why the Genesis was a very important follow-up for Sega, because it was their chance to play some catch-up and, compete toe-to-toe with the big N. But Alex Kidd was an attempt to say, hey, we got kind of a Mario-like game. Yeah, Check this out. Platforming, swimming. I don't know why I'm showing the underwater level here. I hate water levels, but here it is anyway.
This underwater level, I usually hate underwater levels too, but in this case, I'm going to allow it because I instantly, when I started playing this for the first time this past week, I was like, oh crap, water level means I got to go up and breathe every 5 seconds. So in addition to doing all the other crap, I got to make sure I can, breathe. And no, you're just underwater. You're basically just, you swim wherever you want to. It controls just about the same as it does outside the water. You're just visually underwater.
Yeah, that's all it is. You're not wrong. It's not terrible. My biggest problem with these games, and it'll come up probably a couple of times, but structurally, this game wants you to punch a lot of stuff and reveal what's underneath things. I got real tired of that. It's like, all right, I don't want to punch any more stuff. Like, imagine if Mario, because I like that Mario lets you, when you're in big mushroom form, Mario lets you break all kinds of blocks. But the difference here is to uncover like the money that's in these things, you almost have like puzzles you have to do to hit the bubbles just right, and then be in the right place to then get the money out of the stupid cube you're trying to break. And I don't know, they felt distracting. I was never sure how many I was supposed to get. Was I supposed to try to catch them all? Was there any way to tell at the end of a level that I did do that? And there really wasn't. There was no like, you definitely want to. This game encourages you to punch it all after you get around to this. After you get past the water level, when you finally arrive at your first store and you go, I can't afford that bike. Yeah.
The mini bike that you get to ride. By the way, I love that about Alex Kidd. The vehicles and stuff you get to plow through, and it reminds me that this was from some people who are going to be part of the Sonic team, right? It reminds me that what was going on with Sega just in general, because when Sonic came along, it was like, hey, we got levels, and guess what? You're going to fly through them, or you can take your time. And this game kind of has shades of that already, because when you get on these vehicles, you can fly through. And I'm like, man, this reminds me of Sonic. By the way, Sonic wasn't here yet. This was Alex Kidd, their first sort of mascot. There was Fantasy Zone. There was some characters in there that people kind of considered the first mascot. But this, to me, Alex Kidd, the Sega Master System, it came with, I think, version 2 of the Sega Master System. It was loaded inside the system.
Yeah, it was part of it, right? It was built into it at that point.
Built into it. Now, the one I had was even earlier. It was an earlier release. It was the Snail Maze game, which I love, hate. But yeah, Alex Kidd was, he was the man, or the kid.
You know what? I guess maybe Sony gets a little credit here, because the only modern console that comes with a game installed now is the PS5, and it was meant to be more of a demo, but it's quite a good game. It's that weird robot game that shows off the DualSense capabilities. I forgot the name of the game. Robo Quest, something like that. Whatever it is.
Robo Hands.
I want to go back to that. I loved the days where you were like, I'm buying that Sonic edition. And I know you can go buy special editions, right? You can go buy a 360 with full of Halo stuff, or not 360, Series X or whatever. And I can buy a PlayStation 5 that's loaded with God of War or whatever. So I know that stuff's still a thing, but I mean standard SKU, main one you buy, take it home, and there's some game on there.
It's already there. You don't even
have
to, you don't have a separate disc hanging around, and it's right there, baby. It's right there in the system.
Yeah, I miss that. Speaking of vehicle play, we're watching them on a little gyrocopter thing right now.
Yeah. And
you're right. That stuff's innovative and fun. The one thing I'll say about this console, too, we've talked about it before, but I think it really is, these Alex Kidd games really show this off. Where Nintendo games at this time were creating a lot of flashing assets and just kind of weird behavior and slowdown.
Yeah.
This thing just didn't have that. Like,
no flashing, man.
Really clean sprite stuff. Yeah.
It was very clean. This is, if you haven't ever seen Alex Kidd Miracle World, it's a very it's a very clean looking game, very colorful. That's probably we've been giving this game a lot of love so far, but there's a lot to hate as well.
Yeah.
Because all these little vehicles and stuff you get, this game wants to take them away. Everything that you get, this game wants to take them away, including your life. Constantly, it is brutal. The controls are sloppy. You know how sometimes you'll get used to like a particular type of slide. Like Mario. Mario is really a good example. It's like you get used to his goes and stops pretty quickly, and once you've incorporated that into your muscle memory, you got it. It's no big deal. Alex Kidd's a little bit slippery, and sometimes he's slippery in different ways.
I love that as a genre description, a slippery platformer, where it's just like, I'm moving, I'm all over the place. It's almost like ice levels, but the whole game.
Right.
Where you're like moving, you got a little more momentum than you're used to. There's no stopping on a dime. It also doesn't have the air control that Mario was famous for, or at least I think would become famous for.
Yes.
And that's a little bit of a bummer because I like that feeling of being able to control and have it feel natural, but that I have more control over just regular gravity. I can actually control where I'm headed and how fast I'm going there.
There's a little bit of control, but once again, it's sloppy. So you can, if you long press, as according to which version you got, if you got the cart, you may be going. So the Sega Master System has a controller D-pad, 8-direction D-pad, with two buttons, number one and number two. And you may have switched those because one of them's a jump and one of them's a punch, and those switch between whether you got it built onto the system or if you got it in a cart. When you press the jump button, the longer you hold it, the higher you'll go, and you should be able to kind of maneuver yourself in the air and move a little bit. And sometimes the punch, but it's just so loosey goosey, it doesn't always work. You can't depend on your muscle memory in different areas, and there's always something above you to knock you in the head, and you're like, I think I can clear that. Nope, I'm dead. And you're gonna die a lot in this game. And some of the unique things that I liked about this game is I've never played a game on the Sega Master System that I can recall, and maybe I'll be corrected on this shortly. Since we're talking about the controller, when you pick up certain things, certain power-ups, they don't automatically equip. You got to equip them. And now there's only a 8-directional D-pad and a 1 and a 2, you got to find some way to do the other stuff. So there's a pause button and a reset button on the console itself. You have to hit that pause button. So you got to let go of the controller, reach over here, hit the pause button, and it'll bring up an inventory system where you can scroll through your power-ups, activate them. I love the wrist thing. There's a power wrist thing, and you can shoot laser. You can not lasers, but like little crescent moon energy beams.
Yep.
And I like that.
We had a thing. Did you notice back then we had I shouldn't say but these game designers had a crescent moon fetish. Like they were in lots of games. For some reason, we were way into the crescent moon as a weapon or as an effect. What is that about?
I'm assuming that, especially in Japanese, this is a Japanese, or actually, it's a Japanese Chinese inspired. So the what is it? The monkey
The Monkey King thing, yeah.
which is the Monkey King story, which is a Chinese lore, but the Japanese have put this in, just like Dragon Ball. Hey, you ever heard of Dragon Ball?
Yeah, love me some. No, actually, I kind of hate Dragon Ball, but I know what you mean. It's
Yeah.
fine.
So
Some
if you
people love
didn't
Dragon
know-
Ball. No shame to any of you people. I just could never understand why people like Dragon Ball, but whatever.
Right.
Fine.
So Dragon Ball, this game was originally supposed to be Dragon Ball.
What?
Sega had a deal. Right. I know. Big reveal here. This has been rumored for a while, but we've had confirmation not that long ago from the designer, the developer, Hashida,
I believe.
Hashida,
Hoshita?
Kotora
Koshiro
Hashida.
Hoshita. Yeah.
Don't depend on me for the pronunciation.
Nope.
Just go look it up.
Nope.
But there is an amazing book called The Untold History of Japanese Game Developers, and I've been going through it. In volume 3, the creator here talks about the Dragon Ball game. He says, since it's been long enough, I think I can talk about it. He said Sega was planning on making a Dragon Ball game. I guess this happened long enough ago that it's okay for me to talk about it. It began as Dragon Ball title, not a direct competitor to Super Mario Brothers, which is what we always compare it to, and for good reason. So he continues, but when we were told we could not use the Dragon Ball license anymore, we were forced to come up with our own ideas instead. For example, when it was Dragon Ball, Goku fought with his power pole. That would be fun, right? Instead of punching such a lame crap. But we changed that to a punch attack. It was only after we came up with the plan to restart the project as Alex Kidd Miracle World that we started thinking about Mario and looking for ways in which to differentiate the title from it. And so they did. That's how we got here. Nice. We got it started off as Dragon Ball, and then they said, what can we steal from the great Nintendo and put in our game without them noticing? And so they did. Yeah. They did just that. Yeah, you got to get that. It's an amazing.
You were telling me yesterday this thing's available on Kindle Unlimited, right?
Right. It is. It is.
I have that. I'm just gonna do that, dude. I'm getting that.
Yeah.
I'm getting in there. Getting that done.
They're about $30 a piece for the paperback versions, or if you get the Kindle Unlimited, which I think what $9.99 a month or something like that. I forget how much it is.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's some really good interviews and stuff that that we weren't privy to, but it's good. It's good. I love it, and I would have loved to have had a Dragon Ball game on the Master System, but instead we got Alex Kidd, and he does his punches. And he looks like the Monkey King kid.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. There's a brand new game called I forgot the name, but it's based on the Monkey King legend again. It's from a Chinese developer. It's on its way. It's like a big Souls-like thing. It's one of the prettiest games I've ever seen. They keep showing it at these Game Awards and Summerfest and all that. And I forgot the name of it, but if you're not into that lore or don't understand it, it is worth looking up. It's some of the coolest myth ever.
It's good to learn, but because there's been movies, there's been all kinds of games based on it. If you're into digging a little deeper, I totally recommend that. And I wish I could remember the proper term for it. I'm not an expert on Chinese or Japanese culture or language. I'm just someone who appreciates it, and I'm trying to get a little deeper every time we go, including the big bad in Alex Kidd Miracle World, Janken the Great, which apparently means rock, paper, scissors.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. So the bosses in this game, Stonehead, Paperhead, and Scissorhead.
Yes.
Gee, I wonder what they're referencing there.
And the character design sprites are both beautiful, hilarious, and kind of badass.
Yeah. It's pretty cool. Yeah. I like that part.
It's pretty cool.
The enemies,
I thought that was
the enemies in the game are kind of lame. There's a lot of birds and fish and stuff. Those are fine, but the bosses are cool.
Yeah, that's kind of, but most of the stuff is like natural animals. If you didn't know, Janken, this is typical, adventurer stuff. Janken comes along. He's bad. He's turned everybody into stone in the village, and it's your quest, your adventure to battle through the different mini bosses so you can get to Janken and defeat him. And this time, instead of doing stuff like you played Shinobi, right?
Sure.
Those
Shinobi.
bosses are tough.
Yeah.
You always feel like they're way bigger than you, and you gotta learn the timing and everything. And instead of doing that here, they just said, well, what if the boss just played you for rock, paper, scissors? And I was like, okay, what if I win? You get to proceed. What if I lose? You go back to the previous level. What?
Yeah. Yeah.
You mean if I lose a game of rock, paper, scissors, I go back to the beginning? I was so pissed when I found this out. But when I found out that it was not randomly generated, they always throw the same patterns. So
Oh, they
once you
do?
learn the
I
pattern,
didn't realize
yeah,
that. I thought it was something you were going to have to fight against every time you
no,
got there. Or
God, I would
cheat.
have been pissed if that had been the case. But you just, you learn it,
Yeah.
and then the next time you come back through is,
That's funny
it's
because the whole
fine.
point of rock, paper, scissors is that you can never game it. That's the whole point
Right.
of it, is it's always got
It-
RNG in it. It's always going to be random.
Yeah, and there's actually some hidden stuff you can find here. One of the power ups I never found. I kind of wouldn't mind having some like a guide or something, because there's enough going on here just skill base wise that I ain't got time to be exploring. But there's a telepathy ball that you can use for reading the enemy's minds.
Yeah.
And so during the Jenkin matches.
Thank goodness there's a telepathy ball,
Thank God. And I believe there's a hint to that in the manual. I went and read the manual. The story is, basic boilerplate adventure. If you're going to find out that you're royalty, and spoiler. Sorry about that.
You're trying to find your brother.
Trying to find your brother.
Yeah.
Who is royalty.
So imagine Mario not looking for the princess, but looking for Luigi. It kind of changes things a little bit, A little less motivated, maybe. To get your brother out of trouble.
A little less. I get to it.
Yeah, get
this is my
around
brother.
to it.
He's just-
Yeah, it's a cool game though. I think it's worth at least seeing and checking out, even if just to see what the Master System was capable of. Because in a weird way, it was almost like, I don't know how to explain this. Like the NES Master System era, the Master System was a big jump forward compared to what the NES was capable of. And then in the Genesis SNES era, it was almost like the other way around, but not in every way. Like it's such a weird time. What a weird
It really
thing.
is. And I think one of the reasons why once we got our hands in the the large international market, by the time we got the Sega Master System in our hands, this is phase 3 essentially. This is the third one of this system. So they worked out a good bit of stuff. Famicom came along. We got the NES, but it wasn't about improving the system as much as it was annoying the shit out of the Americans by going, let's make it like a little VCR, and we got to pretend like it's not a game system.
It's more like a toy, but also we don't want it to look like a toy. But maybe it'll be as cool as this awesome looking one we have over here in Japan. Nope, never was cool.
Nope,
never as cool as that one. That one's so cool.
Yeah. It was so cool. I love it. I do not have a Famicom system. I would love to get one. That's on my wish list of
I don't
stuff.
even
But
need
one
the
last
actual.
thing.
I mean, if I got one, great. But I would be more. I kind of just want to mess around with that color scheme. I want to get like, I don't know, that keyboard that 8-Bit Do makes.
Oh, dude, that is so cool with the big giant buttons and everything. I'm so excited.
8-Bit Do, I guess. But yeah, with the two big A and B buttons plus the big old clickety clack thing.
Yeah,
it's supposed to be awesome. I really want that. I guess I could just buy that, but.
Right.
I don't know what I'm waiting for. I should probably just get it.
If you hate Alex Kidd in Miracle World, it's okay. The game is unfair, it's brutal, and it's kind of a hot mess. But there's a new version. Alex Kidd in Miracle World came out 2 years ago, I think.
DX they called it. Yep.
I'm sorry, DX Deluxe. Yeah, DX.
Yeah, it just means remastered or whatever. But it's a very, very pretty uptick, and you can switch back to the old graphics anytime you want. The biggest complaint I read in the reviews were that it didn't go far enough to modern up the experience. And most of the time people want like a pure update without changing too much of the gameplay. But maybe Alex Kidd, you could argue, could have used some tweaks in that department. Maybe just
I agree. So if you have got pattern recognition from Alex Kidd in Miracle World, usually I would be like, I'm a purist too. I'm like, oh yeah, if you're going to do a remake, make that thing, make the levels exactly the same. And they did.
Yeah.
But since it controls a little bit different, this was fan made, by the way. Sega's they were already developing this thing, fan made wise, and Sega said, "Yeah, here you go. Let's do this."
Yeah, the opposite of what Nintendo usually does, which is like,
right?
Hey, don't mess with our shit.
Don't mess with our stuff.
Yeah, they made him much more of a monkey in the in the new version.
They leaned into the lore. It is beautiful. to look at. The style really reflects maybe the vision of the original content creators a little more accurately, probably.
Mm-hmm.
And it there's some options you can change that allow you to so it's not quite so floaty. You
Yeah.
can be a little more accurate. If you play it out of the box, you're probably going to be frustrated.
Yeah.
Just like this person on screen, they went and paid. They went and they played a whole level, collected every freaking piece of every piece of currency they could collect, so they could pick up a motorbike in the second level, so they could drive it across the world and be done in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
And instead, they run directly into one of these red balls that are just floating around for no apparent
reason
other than
at
to
all.
destroy your-
Yeah. Freaking red balls, dude. Jeez, these things suck in this game.
Yeah,
But it's cool.
Destroys your bike.
I really like a remake / upgrade that lets you switch around between them. Diablo
Yes.
2's Resurrected does this very well.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
a few others like that, but you this concept of, I want the new shiny, but remind me once in a while of what this used to look like. I think that's fun. Love that.
I think it's fun.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
It's cool.
And
I know that this is, I think this is on PlayStation Plus has this or something right now.
Yeah, I want to say this is on everything. Steam, PlayStation Plus.
Yeah, PS
Nintendo
Plus though, you
Store.
can
I
get it.
think it's
If you sub to it, my point is it's part of their lineup for the sub, so you don't have to pay for it again. It's everywhere though. You're right. It's on Switch. It's on Xbox.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure Steam has this.
Yeah, Steam definitely has it. That's where I bought it because they had it. That was one of the. So when I was looking a couple episodes ago, when we were looking at the Super Mario RPG, I was like, oh, so what other games have been remastered recently? And I saw this Alex Kidd, and I was like, oh, I've never really played it, and it's on sale for $5. So I put it in my list. I played it, and I was like, yeah, we got to play this.
Yeah,
this is some good remake stuff.
Now the Alex Kidd box art. We have to talk about this for a second.
Oh, the Sega Master System box art in general. Please do.
What the hell happened there? Like the one I'm thinking of, actually it's the Mega Drive one I'm thinking of. Because
the Mega Drive one. Yeah, that one's also very interesting. Is that the Japanese or the American version of the Sega Genesis?
Here, I'll put it up for the chat to see it. This is the Genesis version. I don't know what the European one looked like, the Mega Drive one, or in Japan it may have been different, but
right.
The
Japanese version is terrible. I actually,
because look at that, he's not even the monkey kid. He's just a kid with his shirt open.
He's a big-eared kid with his shirt hanging off his shoulders, I think, maybe. He looks so weird. He's got a really weird but I kind of also love the art for some reason.
I hate it so much.
It is such a product of his time. I mean, there's no denying it. It's like, hello, I'm the 90s.
Hello, 91. How are you?
How
are you, 1991? We hope you're enjoying your 1991 life because
we hope you are enjoying it. You're definitely not listening to grunge.
Yeah.
You're something weird.
Yeah. The now we don't ever talk about this. We should though. The Master System had this unified art style that they chose on.
Yes.
This weird kind of holograph deck in the back.
Yeah.
This grid, and then the name of the thing in a very normal font. In the corner, sometimes it would tell you what kind of game it was. In this case, action, it says up in the corner.
Yes.
And then you got Alex Kidd looking like a normal kid fighting a ninja with a big fist. Well done, Sega.
I was hoping I had one at the handy, but I do not. But yes, these things had this grid thing. And it's funny because I noticed that this Star Trek VHS tape I picked up also is rocking that kind of aesthetic.
Yeah, we were into it back
I'm
then.
like, is it less is more? No,
I don't know.
Sometimes less is just less.
And that's a special edition or something, right?
Yeah, this is the collector's edition.
Yeah, so I think they thought that made it seem more professional or something. I don't know. But here's Miracle World's cover. It's fine. He looks more like a monkey, so I respect it.
Yeah,
it's just later. It got kind of weird.
The Japanese copy, that one's okay. That one is that fan art. That one's okay. I think
that one's real. Isn't that one real?
That might be.
Let's see.
That one looks a little bit better. That one's sometimes they just give you one character on a grid field, and it's just not good.
Yeah, I don't know that whole design was just. It was bad. And so was the early Genesis stuff. I didn't like the way they did the box art for the early Genesis games. I like the later Genesis game stuff with the big red stripe on the side.
Oh,
the big old Genesis word on the side. I like that a lot. That was cool.
You knew what you had. I know what I have.
Yeah,
That's what
knew
you
what
would
you
say.
had.
I
We
know
all
what I
had
have.
it. We knew it was up. Let's stay in the 16-bit realm for a second and play a little sound from the Enchanted Castle. Now, if it wasn't obvious, we are in Genesis Town with that sound chip. So you can tell what we're doing here. And the game had some parallax scrolling. It looked better, sounded better, played roughly the same in my experience. It wasn't that different, which probably is what they wanted, right? That's what you want out of a game like this.
And this was we skipped a few. Some people are out there right now who are Alex Kidd purists. I don't know any. And they're going, what about Lost Stars?
Yeah, what about Tech World? What about
Tech World?
yeah.
BMX Trial? None of those games are, to me,
Are good.
mainline Alex Kidd games.
They're not good. They're bad games. I'll say
Not only were they not good, they were in lots of cases games that already existed that they just sprite swapped. Put Alex Kidd in them because they were trying to, they had a brand. They're trying to, put it. One of them's like a edutainment game. I think the High Tech World is kind of like puzzles and stuff, and then one was an arcade game that was something else, and then it became the Lost Stars, and then the BMX. It was just a bunch of mess. Anyway, we're back to the proper Alex Kidd in the Enchanted Castle, and Scott's right. It's kind of more of the same. Everybody's got to upgrade though because it's on the Sega Genesis. And now, in addition to our punchies, we also have kickies.
Yeah,
right.
Kicky, and he gets a big old foot when he does it. Big old fat foot. Nothing wrong with that. You gotta do what you gotta do to get your foot out there. And for whatever reason, Alex Kidd's got a big old fleshy foot.
Yeah, and my favorite thing they added to this is something that you just showed on the screen, which is in the first one on the Master System, all you could do when you crawled was you could just duck down. You could just basically, I didn't. There was nothing you could do. You couldn't punch.
Yeah.
Here you can finally crawl and punch. Thank God.
Yeah.
Please let me be able to do two things at once.
Yeah, they finally kind of got with it on that front, but it still feels like a game that doesn't know what it wants to be, and by that I mean the cover looks nothing like the game. The character looks nothing like the game. The game itself is about an ancient Chinese myth. And never really states it as such. No one's gonna name their mythical, magical fantasy monkey Alex Kidd. Like,
wait, he's a kid, and his name is Alex.
I mean, it just doesn't have Mario, Super Mario Brothers, Sonic the Hedgehog, Sonic and Tails, Sonic. Like those things all resonated. Right. This does not. This just sounds like we don't know what we want, but here's a game and it plays and it's fine. But we don't really know what we want ultimately.
Was this kind of like a holdover from? I tried to figure that out too. Is this kind of like a holdover from that time during the 70s and 80s where everybody had to have like a robot sidekick and also had to have a kid involved? There was always a kid for the adventure, all the way back to stuff like Speed Racer, where it's just like the kids can't appreciate the adventure we're having unless we inject a kid in it.
Yeah, even like let's say Final Fantasy. Square Enix would put in characters, still does. They put in characters that are very young and very jaded and a little bit emo, and they're going to save the world. Don't worry, but they're going to really struggle along the way and kick the dirt a lot and go, I don't want to do that.
This is crap.
I haven't had a dad. I don't know who my dad is. Like this kind of stuff. They love that in the same way that Disney loves having young princess girls who are orphans or whose parents died early and now they're off to, they're doing something like that. Think about how many Disney stories are that.
Right.
It's like that with young male protagonists in video games in in Japanese video games, early ones.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah.
It's weird.
It's odd that you mentioned the father angle because he's looking this time around. He's looking for his father, King Thor.
Whoa.
In the mystical castle. Yeah, I know, right?
King Thor.
He's updated his quest.
Yeah.
He is it's still family. It's still family, don't get me wrong, but he's got new things to do. I also like the fact that you can in this one at first I thought, this is not going to be vertical like the first Alex Kidd. The first level you play on Alex Kidd is you're going down. You're traveling, down. And in this one I was like, this is just going to be side-scrolling. But there are, when you get to certain areas, you can actually kind of ground pound, and you'll start going down through the earth. And then there's like areas down there.
They're hidden areas, though, right?
Yeah, the hidden areas, right?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
just hit one. So yeah.
Yeah.
I like the verticality of it.
Yeah, I like
of Alex
verticality in
Kidd.
games in general. I also like
Yeah.
digging. I like games where I have to go down. I like that.
Yes.
Yeah, that's fun. Always a fan
Yeah.
of that.
And
But
more weird variety of animals and people to fight this time around. I mean, but it's just a weird collection of different. Like right now, it looks like he's fighting Freddy.
Yeah, that does look like Freddy a little
No,
bit.
not Freddy. I'm sorry, I meant Jason. I said Freddy, but I meant Jason.
What? Wait. Oh, we're right. I did the same thing. You said it, and I believed it. Yeah,
that's right.
Freddy's got the mask. Sorry, Freddy's got the claw. Jason has the mask. Let's keep it straight. Yeah, it's a weird one. I kind of had a decent time playing this one though.
Yeah, it's probably more accessible than the first one. More exciting. Personally, I prefer the grinding of the first Alex the Kid in Miracle World, but this has got its charm. I don't know how I feel about the shops you kind of run into, because there's there, instead of like going in and seeing a guy in a shop, you kind of go in and you got these circus people that are apparently, they got a monkey and a dog and it's dancing with pom poms, and you gotta wager, which is preset, and is rock paper scissors again, but this time it is
random, is it? Ooh, look at that. The
This
power
one
of
is
blast
random.
processing gives you blast randomization of numbers.
Yeah, and usually you have to sacrifice a life. This one gets dark to me. It's like, how would you like to make a blood pact?
Jeez.
We will lose a life if I don't know, I don't care for this.
That gets pretty dark. I didn't get that deep. I didn't get that deep into it. I played a bit, and
right,
it was okay. I didn't hate it, but
yeah,
I was sort of left like, yeah, the Sonic's your system seller. This is not it.
Yeah, this was just kind of there wasn't really much reason for this game to exist other than let's put some Alex Kidd on the Sega Genesis, because we already firmly established at this point that Sonic was our man, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
If Sonic can't do it, Alex Kidd can. No, can't
with a big old apostrophe T at the end. Now I want to talk about Shinobi World a little bit, because this takes us back to the 8-bit version of Alex Kidd and his fighting.
This was released after the Genesis version, then, so let's head back to the Sega Master System with another version of Alex Kidd.
Now you hear Shinobi World and you might go, wait a minute, what kind of crossover bullcrap is this?
This is good.
You'd be right about it being a little weird, but here's a little bit of what that sounded like. Here you go. I actually have to say I really like the soundtrack of this game.
Oh, that is so Shinobi, boy. Listen to that.
Yeah.
And there's like, hey, where's the chip tunes for the Shinobi?
Yeah, where's our Shinobi chip tunes? Yeah, this one's an interesting one, because it was planned as Shinobi Kid. That's what they were going to call it.
Yeah, Nintendo had Dracula Kid, so we were all trying to kidify stuff, right?
Right.
Yeah,
and that's fine. Again, I don't want to make it sound like I'm pissy about it. I usually don't like crossovers. For whatever reason, though, this one kind of worked for me. I think this is a fun little game.
It really works for me.
Yeah.
I will admit to being a Shinobi lover, and pretty much as long as you stick with the formula, I'm not a big stickler for the sprites. I'm not married to the Shinobi sprites, so if you want to stick something else in there, I'm good.
Yeah,
as long as you stay to the formula.
Yeah, stick to what works. What's that? Walking sideways, hucking shurikens at bad guys.
That's right.
If you let me do that, then our Shinobi pact remains solvent.
It's intact.
Yeah, it's intact. We're in the black. Okay, you don't have to call your accountant just yet. Yeah, I played a bit more of this than the other two, and quite had a good time. I was surprised how much fun I had with this one, and I feel like hardly anyone knows this exists. And I'll be honest, I didn't know until we talked about this as our topic, and I went and found it.
Yeah,
I didn't know it was
only because I'm a Shinobi fan that I even know this existed. I found it years ago, and I was like, oh yeah, I love me some Shinobi. Oh, sign me up.
Yeah. Did you play back in the day or this game?
Yes,
you did. Okay.
Well, it's in a middle part. It's not in my. I did not play it on my Sega Master System, but later on, probably early 2000s, when I first started looking at getting nostalgic for my Sega Master System and stuff. I saw that kind of stuff existed, and then then whenever it came available on ROMs and stuff, anytime I was collecting Sega Master System stuff, I would grab everything Shinobi. And so I've experienced this since then.
There's something like, I don't know how to explain it. This just is a better platformer. That's what it is. I don't have the problems I have with the other games where the slipperiness is an issue. In some ways, this is a little more straightforward. It's like, hey, get from here to there. Go left to right. Here's some shit to knock out of the way. Let's go open Nipty's chest. Like, they're not really making it hard, right, to traverse the thing. And I think it benefits the game. It's just more fun, smoother, cleaner.
It is.
Yeah.
It is kind of a cheat because you have some people who are like, you never played Alex Kidd? You got to play some Alex Kidd. And you're like, I don't want to play Alex Kidd. I don't know. And then you can play Shinobi and say, well, I played Alex Kidd in Shinobi World. And even though they won't like that answer, they'll know you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'll know.
You played a little bit.
They're making a new Shinobi. We saw that at the Game Awards.
Oh, yeah. Very excited.
Very excited.
All that new Sega announcement stuff.
That what I was looking at there looked like some really cool Metroidvania business, which I think that series would really benefit from. I don't want I don't want to walk right and shoot. I want to do more than that. And it looks like that's what they're doing. I'm very excited about these Sega classics getting modern takes.
Yeah.
Which I think we made pretty clear last week, but
another thing that I love about this version, I don't remember seeing, and maybe I'm not remembering correctly, but there was like in the first one of Alex Kidd in Miracle World, there was these mystery boxes, and if you touch them, the Grim Reaper may come out, and you can't not die. You gotta, but only if you run fast. If you run fast and get to a different area, which that's not always an option. Like if you're underwater, forget it.
Yeah.
You're dead.
You're dead.
I did not realize until somebody told me this week while I was playing it, because I usually just try to avoid those boxes, but someone told me and said, hey, those alternate between what? Yeah. And they said, if you release the Grim Reaper the first time, the next one you come across will be an Alex Kidd life up. And I'm like, oh,
really?
All right, now it's worth it. Yeah.
Okay.
But for the longest time, I never would do that because I'm like, stupid.
Well, how would you know, though? How would you know unless someone told you? You know?
I think someone told me, and there's another thing too in the first one. I don't know how far this goes on. If you hold the up button on the direction pad and hit the 1 or 2 button 8 times, and you have 400 coin, you'll get a continue.
Oh, I'm like, what? It's like their own little Konami code, little Konami cheat code kind of thing going on there.
Yeah, it's gotta be fast.
Yeah. Well, this is a good one. I recommend it. Yeah. Kind of wish they'd have remade this, but it's too weird, probably.
Yeah, because I don't think
it's Russian. It's like having Russian Attack and Sonic in a combo game. Like, what are you doing?
Right, and it's great if you have it, but then do you really want to remake? Nah,
probably
but
not.
It's great that you have it.
Yeah, I think that's a fair way of putting it.
Yeah.
But yeah, Alex Kidd, worth looking at the history of the series, even if you're not as interested in the game, because this was a time everybody was having the mascot wars. Everybody needed something big. Nintendo was the big, scary, light on the hill that had Mario for days, and nobody wanted to compete with that. So what did they do? Well, they tried. They tried a bunch of stuff. This was one of those things.
Yeah.
Didn't really work out for them.
If you have Kindle Unlimited, and you want to learn more from interviews and things, you should really look at the Untold History of Japanese Game Developers, Volume 3 specifically, if you want to find out more stuff about Alex Kidd. But all the issues are just chock full of what? Holy crap kind of stuff. It's just like these, so good. Because these guys weren't, like, a lot of these developers weren't able to talk about anything going on during development, and they weren't able to even half the time even put their name on the freaking game.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's not true here because I think there's a credit section. I could be wrong, but we'll see.
You're never wrong, Brian.
I'm never wrong, but I'm not always right.
There you go. That? Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair point. Now let's see how good you are at being right with this. We're going to play a game we call Guess Our Game. We do it each and every week, and we play a little audio from an old ass game, and then we try to guess what each other brought. You can ask 3 questions and 3 only. Although the person who is hiding the secret can share as many hints as they want to either direct you in the right place or otherwise help you out. I'm going to start this week with something from 1993 and the
1993
Sega CD is where this came from.
Sega CD.
And I owned this. I also bought it in the fall for because I knew I was going to be hanging out with my my brother-in-law who loved this kind of video game. That's a good hint to give you. Okay.
Okay. All right.
Let's see if you can figure it out. It's important to remember though. 93 Sega CD, not just because they
Because
rhyme.
I had all of these, the 93 Sega CDs.
All the 90s. Yeah, 93 is a big year for the Sega CD, it turns out.
Right. I have nothing except I have no Sega CD.
The Sega CD was the 5th best-selling console of that year, by the way. I found out.
Right. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So I since I've never played any of them other than on my Sega Mini 2.
Yeah.
I hope it's the one and only Sega CD game I have.
Rise of the Dragon. Let me tell you that it is absolutely not Rise of the Dragon.
Son of a butthole.
I know. That would have been great, though. But here it is. Let's see if we can figure it out. It's got some really rockin' menu music.
That's bad. I love that. Oh, the CD, baby, bringing you some good music.
Yeah. It's the first time you had sound like that. All right, I'm going to skip ahead a little. This is mostly menus. All right, how about here?
All right, my first question is,
Yeah.
oh, I hear some cheering.
Yeah, listen to this.
I think that's it's either the ocean or cheering. Oh, definitely some fighting. So it sounds like some feetball. Is this a sports game?
To answer your first of your 3 questions, yes, it is a sports game.
Okay. Okay, so we got a whistle there. We got a lot of tackling.
Yeah. And that goes back to this stuff.
It's good that football season is wrapping up, so thank you for presenting this now. That's a good thing. 93
just
Sega
to
CD.
help you, so in case it's not obvious, this is not a Madden game.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I don't remember any Madden games being. I remember a lot of them on the Genesis themselves, but I don't remember any of them because I think there was a fallout by the time we had gotten to the CD that EA and Sega had fallen out, right? I think
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that I can't remember. I know that was true definitely for the Dreamcast and for the Saturn. I
which
can't
took away
remember
a
for
lot
sure.
of sports games.
Yeah, but I don't think this. I think the Sega CD may have been
Still
devoid of any EA games of any kind.
right. All right, I got a second question for you.
Go.
Are these human football players?
Are they human? Yes.
Okay, shoot.
So that takes out the
Mutants.
Yeah, but that's EA also, so that would have put you in a weird place.
Yeah. But I thought they might have been like, yeah, you can have this.
Yeah, you can have this one. We don't care.
Yeah,
about
we don't
this.
have any. We didn't even pay any license for this.
Yeah.
That's what I was kind of thinking, right?
Yeah.
You know.
Fair enough. I love
let's
those
see.
games. I love Mutant League football and
so
Mutant
good.
League hockey. Gosh dang it, dude.
Right. Love those.
Love 'em. So stupid, but I love it.
Okay, so I got one more. So is this who else would be making football games during this time?
Oh, good question.
It was 93, way too early for like the 2K sports kind of stuff.
Yeah, technically this is before NHL 94 came out on the Genesis a year before. Oh, you know what? Duh.
Really?
Of course there were EA games there because my favorite version of NHL 94 was the Sega CD version of that game.
Oh, was it? I didn't know that.
I think I'm thinking Saturn and forward is where EA
You probably
fell
are.
off.
I'm probably getting it wrong too. I'm probably getting my timeline. All right, let's move forward then.
Yeah.
All right. Is this officially? Is this an NCAA? Is that right? What is it? What's the college football? Is it what is that one?
NCAA.
It's NCAA. Okay.
You would be incorrect, but I will tell you as additional information. This is an NFL licensed game, so it does have real NFL players. So it's a pro. It's a pro license, but it's to answer your question, yes, these are real players, real teams.
All right. I got it. I got it. You ready?
Yep, go.
This is NFL Sega CD.
I mean, you're kind of you're in the neighborhood, honestly, because it is a boring name, and they never made another one for this device anyway.
Right.
I'll I'll just tell you what it is. Are you ready for this? I'll tell you
take
what
a stab.
it is.
Take a stab. Yeah.
So the game was originally available on the. Let's see. Let me make sure I have this right. Where's the Sega CD version? Because they may have made a version on the Genesis prior to this. I think they probably did. I didn't have that one. Okay, here it is. It is Joe Montana's NFL football.
Dadgummit, I should have guessed that 1993.
It's tricky. It was a Sega joint, so they made it themselves, and they were making their own sports games at that point as well.
I forgot about all the Sega Sport. They did that, especially on the Dreamcast, I think.
Yeah, and the Genesis too. They had like what was the World Series baseball was theirs.
God, I forgot about.
They had their own hockey game. They were kind of trying to compete with EA. Funny enough.
Yeah, that's probably what upset them.
Yeah, it's probably why EA's like, you know what, we're making the 3DO next. We're out of here. Bye.
Yeah, we're out of here. My name is Doug.
Yeah, we'll put stuff on PlayStations and on Nintendo consoles because they way outsell any Sega stuff. But screw you guys, we're going home. Basically, they said
we're going home.
That's a hard one, but I love that game, or I think I did.
That's a good one. Yeah, that was a good one because. It seems on the surface, it's like, oh, I got this. It's a football game. And then you remember, oh, my God.
Yeah.
There's been a million.
We played a ton of that. And then between plays in the campaignish mode they kind of had, pictures, really pixelated pictures of Joe Montana would pop up and he'd have advice for you. So it'd be like, don't forget to throw the ball to the other guy or whatever it was.
Quarterback's number one thing to remember is throw the ball to the receiver.
Don't forget, if you got the ball, you should throw that to somebody.
You should throw that to somebody before they attack you.
It was weird. It was weird how the advice was kind of lame. They gave us lame advice from one of the greatest NFL quarterbacks in the history of the game.
And that's why John Madden is so awesome because he's great.
Damn straight he is. And rest his soul. Yeah. All right, let's move on to yours. I'm going to hit play on this, but first, anything to set me up? You got a date or anything?
Absolutely. This is the year prior to that on the Super Nintendo Entertainment System.
So 92, Super 92. NES. All right, let's go.
It's not Seinfeld.
This sounds really familiar.
I know, right? It's funky too.
All right, Nintendo. Question number 1: is this a Nintendo published property?
No.
Okay. Is it a platformer?
It is not. How about I tell you it's top down though?
Okay, that helps.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how we usually do these, is we hint that way. Top down. So commando style, sort of. Like those games. Sort of. Scrolling.
I like to do it commando style. In other words,
can I add another question on top of the last question?
Sure. I can give clarification. Sure.
Does it scroll up or down or side to side?
It scrolls in every direction. It's top down.
Okay, it's top down. You can go any direction.
Yeah, so it's not really like Commando in this. There's like a direction, but it is top down, more like a Zelda. How about that?
Well, shit.
Well, shit.
I got one more. Is it kind of goofy and cartoony looking?
Yes, I feel like it's kind of goofy and cartoony, but not too extreme. It's not realistic, but it's a little goofy. It's a little goofy.
So stylistic.
Once again, if you're thinking of like some of the later Zelda titles for that would be probably more how it looks.
Okay, all right, fair enough. Oh my gosh, I don't have any idea. I'll just guess. Turn-based Terry and his debut Japanese RPG called Terry the Turn-based. I have no idea.
I love when we come up with our own titles. This is Soul Blazer,
Damn
published
it!
by Enix.
Yeah, I should have. I should have. I wouldn't have known that one anyway, but I should have thought. I should have assumed it was kind of in the vein of something Enix or one of those old before they.
I
merged
almost
with
gave you a
Square.
soul because there's so many soul games. You'd probably spend an hour going soul fart.
How soul fart? Ooh, was
Ooh.
this good? Was it fun? Was it? Do you remember? Do you know?
I never played it, but I was going through my list of games. I started this up. I played around with it for a few minutes and said, bookmark, coming back to this one.
Yeah.
It has potential.
Okay.
It was received fairly well.
Oh, I think you're saying poorly.
No, it was received fairly well. Like in the 80s kind of a score, like 8 out of 10,
Yeah.
80 out of, of 100. So, yeah.
Okay. Fair enough.
Lovely.
I like it a lot. That's rad. Well done. Neither of us succeeded today. We both get a big old fart. And now this.
Welcome to the treasure room.
Yeah, that's right. We take your texts, your voicemails, your emails, whatever you want to send us. Today we have a email. All right. This came to playretroshow@gmail.com. This comes from Russell from Chicago, who says the following. Thanks for the great show. Oh, this might have been a text. I'm not sure. Looks like an email, but maybe a text.
It was transferred through Electronica.
Yeah, somehow we got it over the internet. How about that? He says, thanks for the show, or the great show. Thanks to you two chuckleheads, I am back into retro gaming. I picked up a broken SNES and an NES console to restore and a bunch of games. My 5-year-old son has shown interest, so I took him to a Galloping Ghost arcade in Brookfield, Chicago. Yeah, that sounds cool.
I've got that on my. I've like put that in my map so many times. Sometimes I'll be going to work and I'm like,
Just
and
drive Chicago.
Does anybody else do this? I'll be going to work and I'll be going like, oh man, where could I just go today instead of work? And I'll hit it up and I'll go like Galloping Ghost Arcade in Chicago.
Yeah.
And it'll go, we can be there in 8 hours.
Yeah.
And I just dream for a minute going, yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Screw this work thing.
Yeah, screw
But
work.
that's great.
Work's dumb. Brookfield is where it is, specifically. If people want to look it up. Says there is a $25 entrance fee with the arcade machines on free play. They have another building full of pinball machines 2 blocks away. I love the show, though. Russell from Chicago. That sounds awesome. It's a little like we have these nickelcades here where you pay. It's a lot cheaper, though. You only pay $5 to get in.
Right.
And then all the machines are on. Or no, you give them. How does it work? Oh, they give you a ton of these nickels.
Right.
And then you can buy more, I think. Anyway, it's a very similar thing, but I'm sure it's not as big. I've heard a lot of good things about this Brookfield one.
Now, Chicago used to be a hub at one point in time for all the arcade games and stuff. So I've been. It's been on my list. There's a few in the country that are like, you got to go to this arcade. And Galloping Ghost, I think at one point in time was the largest, or it's kind of flipped back and forth between some other places, but they're always battling for the biggest and the best.
Love hearing that, though. And your 5-year-old, what a fun time, man. What a great time to take a 5-year-old to something like that. That's amazing. Let us know your favorite arcades and where we should go around this country to see them, everybody. Be like Russell. Send us a message, playretroshow@gmail.com, or you can text us or voicemail us at 801-471-0462. Very exciting news, everyone. PC people, get ready for this.
Get ready. It's DOS Timber.
That's right. It's DOS Timber. Not only that, we love Christmas, and both Brian and I associate Star Wars things with Christmas stuff for some unknown reason. I don't know why. Maybe Hoth made an impact with all the snow. I don't know. But maybe it was the Star Wars holiday Christmas thing they did. That stupid special.
Yeah.
I don't know what did it, but something did it to us as kids, and we are going to celebrate by doing next week Star Wars X-Wing from 1993. X-Wing.
Yeah, I'm doing it in the DOS. I'm breaking out I can't decide if I'm going to go full on with my hottest controller. HOTAS? How do you say it?
HOTAS?
Or my dad gave me an old Logitech Wingman a long time ago, and I'm thinking about digging that out. That's a little older school.
It is older school. I love that idea.
Yeah.
If you're asking yourselves, wait a minute, where's TIE Fighter? We'll get to that eventually. We're talking X-Wing now to start with, okay? We start with the Rebellion. We move over to the Empire later.
Right.
But this is episode 100 as well, so we're looking forward to celebrating that with you and, a little pre-Christmas good time.
Yeah.
All right.
Christmas Love 100 episode. What a great merging of greatness.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing. I cannot wait for this. So we're going to talk about that next week. I spent a lot of time in that game, both of those games. and we'll see if the love still holds. In the meantime, playretroshow@gmail.com is that email address. All right, one more time. And then let me give you the text as well, 801-471-0462. You can also support us at patreon.com/playretro, like Robert Graham, Scott Perino, and William Usherwood. These are just 3 of our amazing patrons who support us each and every month. Please go check it out at patreon.com/playretro. It means a lot to us. And if you were like, well, what were all those things I just said because I didn't write any of them down or commit them to memory? Very easy. Go to frogpants.com/playretro. All of it is there. And we have a new time that we record every day. We did it today. 1:30 Mountain Time on Fridays. Brian gets home pretty early from work on Fridays. It's perfect for me with the rest of my schedule. So we have changed that. It's up on the site now and on the schedule. So it'll be normal for everybody. But if you want to be here live, 1:30 p.m. in the afternoon. That's Mountain Time. That's about 3:30. Well, not about. It's exactly 3:30 Eastern Time.
That's how time works.
12:30 Pacific. And if you want to get real weird, 2:30 Central. All right?
Right. Use weirdos in the Central.
Bunch of strangers in the night. Brian, anything else you'd like to say before we go?
I should I get an analog pocket? I want one so bad.
want one
FPGA is my jam right now. I just can't stop thinking about it. And if you can't stop thinking about it, let me know and we'll talk more about FPGA stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, and retro achievements too. I recently set up a Play Retro show, retro achievements. So me and Scott are going to go.
Oh yeah,
whoop your butts.
Yep, we're going to take you on directly, you losers. Anyway, that'll do it for us. Thank you all for watching, listening, and hanging out with us this week. Hope you're having a great holiday season. Go play something retro, and we'll see you next time.
That looks good.
Get more at frogpants.com.
That's the only voice acting in any